Welcome to the 10th Annual Hour with the Hero. Please stand for the presentation of the colors and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the singing of the national anthem. Host the colors. Please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now we're going to join Willie in singing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated.
Every day, an American citizen becomes a part of the greatest military in the world. Every day, more than 22 veterans die from suicide due to PTSD. Every day we walk these halls, do our daily routine without fear of war breaking out in our parking lot. Every day we're protected by America's finest. We're here today because of these people. So join me not just today, Veterans Day, but every day in showing our appreciation for these veterans and active military members who risk their lives for our freedom.
Picked us up from Okinawa. When we went to get on a C-130 to be transferred to Vietnam, they were unloading body bags. That was a rude awakening because I knew that me or some of the guys could be coming back that way.
Today is a time for Americans to reconnect with their history and the values of honoring and remembering those who willingly and literally faced death for the freedom and ideals we as Americans cherish.
Every day we are defended by the lives of our fellow Americans. But who are they?
My brother. My cousin.
My dad.
My dad.
My grandpa and my uncles.
My grandpa.
My father, my brother, and myself.
My dad, my father-in-law, my son, and my students.
We are here today to say thank you, and we are honored to know you. There are many men and women serving today in all branches of this military, here at home and in places far away, some places you never knew about. And they are a part of the best trained, best equipped force in the world. We honor them and their families, for the sacrifices they make each and every day to keep our country safe from terrorism, hatred, and injustice.
Everything that has to do with the United States of America, there's no place like the USA. I mean, whether it's freedom, or whether it's food, or whether it's your family, or whether it's entertainment, or whether it's just the good old USA, you miss the country.
The American soldier, he has sacrificed his blood, his sweat, his tears, and sometimes even his life for his country. And we cannot fathom that because we have not walked through his shoes. We have not seen the things that he has seen. We have not heard what he has heard. So join me, not just today, but every day, in thanking the veteran.
Colonel Ray Boudreaux recently retired from the city of Fayetteville, where he served as the Director of Aviation since January 2002. Colonel Boudreaux is retired from more than 24 years in the United States Air Force, where he served as a command pilot, instructor pilot, and flight examiner, and later as Commander of Security Organizations, including Chief of Security Police, responsible for the security of nuclear weapons and weapons system, law enforcement, and investigations. He retired from military service in 1991 after tours of duty as base commander of Eaker Air Force Base in Blytheville, Arkansas, and Green Forks Air Force Base in North Dakota. Following his military career, Colonel Boudreaux served the village of Rantoul, Illinois as Director of Aviation and Economic Development in the wake of the closure of Cheyenne Air Force Base. Today, Colonel Boudreaux serves as president of the Arkansas Air and Military Museum and serves as part-time executive director. He is chairman of the board at SMUC, president of the Fayetteville Rotary Club, chairman of the board of Northwest Arkansas Certified Development Committee, vice chairman of the Northwest Arkansas Economic Development District, and past president of the Arkansas Airports Operations Association. Colonel Boudreaux enjoys golf, travel, gardening, singing, rotary, and model railroading. Colonel Boudreaux is a graduate of Fayetteville High School, Air Command and Staff College, Air War College at the University of Arkansas, and holds a Master of Management degree from Webster's College in St. Louis. Please join me in giving a warm Har-Ber High School welcome to Colonel Ray Boudreaux.
Well, now that you've heard my bio, is there anything else you'd like to know? I'll say that again. Now that you've heard my bio, is there anything else you'd like to know? That was supposed to be a joke. Well, you saw on the clip, I was also on the clip as well, and you saw that I'm all about the USA. And I can tell you, whenever we were deployed in the military, you did miss the USA. You really miss the USA. There's nothing like our country in the whole world, nothing like it. Today, I want to thank you all for having me. I'd like to thank Mrs. Lamb for inviting me, and I won't spend much of your time. I sat in on the last presentation and heard a presentation from a gentleman from World War II. That was the war to end all wars for real. Just unbelievable. I served in the Vietnam War and served my country from 1966 until 1991. So you can tell the only war that I suffered was the Vietnam War. But today is Veterans Day, and that's the day when we respectfully remember those who have served our country, those who have served and died for our country, those who have gone before, who, when asked, accepted the challenge to defend this great country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true allegiance to the same. So help me God. Those words are sworn by each who take up the burden of defense and are very much the same words promised in the oath of office by our civilian leaders, congressmen, senators, the President of the United States. All swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. It was an honor for me to serve. I appreciate you today wishing us well, wishing those who are veterans the best, and offering us honor. But it is an honor to serve. Military service was my first job out of the University of Arkansas. I was immediately part of the greatest military the world had ever seen. It was made strong by the men and women who have sworn their allegiance and who demonstrate selfless dedication to the mission. The men and women I served with and those who have gone before will forever receive my gratitude for their commitment to the preservation of this great country and the freedoms we all enjoy. Today, I'd like to encourage each and every one of you to consider a career in the military. When I was in high school, your age, I was playing football and you know what other things that the guys that are in high school do. I had no idea what I wanted to do for my life's work. It was not until I was required to attend ROTC at the University of Arkansas, which was a requirement in those days, that I found that military service was a good fit for me. The Vietnam conflict was underway at that time, and most of us were worried about the draft and what number we might have and when we might be called. And if we had a low number, we might be called early. If we had a high number, we might not be called at all. Some of us thought that joining ROTC and being a member of the advanced program would keep us in school and let us finish. So a lot of us did that. I joined the advanced program, and in the advanced program, you either graduated and were commissioned, or if you didn't graduate, you had to enlist. You would get to enlist as a staff sergeant and go ahead and serve your country that way. Today, and after the Vietnam War, military service became voluntary. So if you want to be in the military, you have to volunteer. In fact, today, the military is very, very selective. You have to have a skill or an aptitude that the military needs at the time. But I can tell you, if you volunteer and you can get in, it's a great life. It's a great life. What you saw me say up there on the TV, on the little presentation beforehand, was how I missed my country when I was deployed. Well, that's true. I missed my country and I missed my family, but let me tell you what. I have 3 great sons, and they're very successful. And they didn't need me at the time because their mother was very, very strong and understood the commitment that I had made, because she stood right up and had the same commitment. It was just like the Rotary statement, service above self. We were in the business of service and answering the call of duty. I tell you, if I had it all to do again, I'd still join the military. The military instilled pride in country, pride in each organization you were assigned to, and pride in oneself as a member of a team. It taught self-reliance and perseverance. It honed skills and developed leaders at all levels. None of those holding the highest positions of command in this country was given that duty. Each and every one earned the position, graduating through the ranks by demonstrating outstanding performance in each and every task. I was fortunate to command at the detachment, squadron, and group command levels. But there are many other avenues of service in the military and the Air Force. We've got doctors and lawyers and nurses and scientists and researchers and mechanics and communication specialists and data analysis and weathermen and engineers and cooks and pilots and navigators, and the list goes on. Whatever you want to be, you can be in the military. And I can tell you what, you join the military and you will be the best that you can be. I hope you'll consider the armed service for your career. If not the armed service, then I would suggest some other area of public service. You might say I'm prejudiced. Well, you're right, I am. I believe that all should serve this country that ensures freedom for all. We are privileged to live in the USA, and we are all responsible to help preserve and protect that freedom we all enjoy. Even if not your profession, do not turn down the opportunity to volunteer. You will not be disappointed because you will serve with others equally committed to helping others and preserving our way of life. I know you were promised today to hear about my military service since it's Veterans Day, so I'll give you a few snippets. As a pilot, my most exciting and rewarding assignment was command of the Air Rescue and Recovery Service Detachment at Patrick Air Force Base, Florida, in support of the Space Shuttle. Our responsibility was to provide emergency rescue support for the astronauts during the first 4 launches of the shuttle. I commanded a helicopter detachment with 8 helicopters. 6 of those were on scene during each launch. Each helicopter had 2 pilots, 2 flight engineers, and 2 pararescuemen. They were all dedicated to do the best they could do. They were all dedicated to excellence. But I can tell you the pararescuemen were absolutely astonishing. If you've ever known a pararescueman, you'll know what I mean. Those boys would get up at dawn, do 8 to 10 miles running, physical fitness, then all day long be in a lake with a shuttle mock-up, designing procedures, writing procedures, and refining those procedures in order to be the most effective rescue force that they could be should the shuttle go down in the Atlantic Ocean. We would drop them from the helicopter at 20 feet, carrying a pack of about 100 pounds. They could do everything. They could swim, they could dive, they could climb, they could hike, they could run, they could shoot, and they could provide medical attention. They were absolutely fantastic. And they so were the slogan, the rescue slogan, that others may live. After serving as a pilot, I was fortunate enough to command security forces. After attending the Security Police Academy, I was assigned as a guy who had been a pilot for 15 years, in command of 1,500 young security policemen, many of whom were 18 years old, packing M16s and .38 sidearms, and I was in charge. Who do you think was scared? It was me. But I can tell you what, the young lieutenants, the senior NCOs, those folks carried the day. They had been security policemen for a long time, and our responsibility was law enforcement, investigations, security of nuclear weapons in the weapons storage area, security of the flight line where bombers and tankers, bombers loaded with nuclear weapons, stood alert in case they were called upon due to an act of aggression. Our young airmen stood in front of those airplanes in all kinds of weather, in front of the doors of those igloos with nuclear weapons inside in all kinds of weather. One event, 36 inches of snow. There was no way we could give relief to our forces on duty. My Chief Master Sergeant, the senior enlisted advisor of our particular unit, found a tracked vehicle, was able to get to it, came and picked me up at my quarters. We went to the commissary and stole as much food as we could pack and cigarettes and headed out to the field where we were able to cross the fences without going through the gate because the snow was piled up so high. We found our troops, we fed them, gave them some warmth for a little while, and took them back to the weapons security area building where they could warm up for a while. But those guys never complained. That was their job and they knew it. That was their duty and they do it. Duty first. As far as my Vietnam experience, my first assignment following pilot training was flying KC-135 tankers. I was fortunate. I graduated high enough in my class where I got my pick. I wanted to fly the KC-135, which was a 707, Boeing 707, one of the very early airliners. You guys have never had an opportunity to fly it because you're too young, but one of the very first jet airliners that was flown by American and Pan American and United and all those folks was a 707. I got to be a pilot on those, and our job was to refuel the SR-71 spy plane and bombers and fighters as they were going into combat. It was a great mission. After attending Rotary Aircraft Transition School, I was assigned as a helicopter pilot to the 21st Special Operations Squadron in Nakhon Phanom, Thailand. Our job in Thailand was to support special operations teams into the combat zone where they would deploy and gather intelligence on force structure and movements of the enemy. We were rarely in combat, so I can't give you any harrowing experiences other than flying a helicopter at treetop levels, trying to stay non-detected, making landings in the dark on beanbag lights in a helicopter, doing all those things to keep from getting seen and shot at. Because we were supposed to stay quiet and undetected. Later, I was a helicopter pilot in support of photo recon. Photo recon drones were launched off an HC-130, and that drone would fly missions over North Vietnam taking pictures. Then it would fly back and hit the chutes. The parachute would float down, and we would catch it in midair, take it back to base where the film was developed and then analyzed, and the drone was prepared for the next day. Yes, my military experience was varied, and I can tell you that your military experience today would be something that would be very, 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 very good for you. Entering into the military, what happens is you remain strong, because remaining strong means that an aggressor will not take the chance to attack a strong military. It's called peace through strength. And today, we have the strongest military on earth, basically because of the people in it. You can choose what you want to do. You can choose where you want to go. You can graduate through the ranks and be a general if you want to. All you have to do is consider it, think about it, make a commitment. Thank you very much for letting me talk with you today. I know it's the last period of the day, so you're all probably ready to go home anyhow. So thanks very much for your time. Do you have any questions that I could answer? I must have told you everything. You all have a great day. Thanks for your time.
We would just like to thank Mr. Boudreaux for coming today and sharing his story. Let's give him one more round of applause, guys.
We would also like to recognize any other military men or women in the audience today. If you're in the audience, please stand. Oh. Thank you guys for coming out today. You guys are now dismissed back to class.